everybody, it's Kim Beegler, owner of Ewethful Fiber Mill, and I'm at the mill, but I'm gonna be at home soon. But I just wanted to start off with this lovely Romney silk fiber that I am carding up. Sorry, my voice is a little, I did a little presentation this morning, so my voice is a little bit cracky. Anyway, here it is, Romney silk on the carder, just so you can get an idea of what I talk about on this vlog. And let's go over to the other side, and you can see some of it right there. And here it's coming off the carder. It's gorgeous, kind of one of my favorite colors. So stay tuned. I'll be talking about wool and hand spun yarn, and maybe even a tiny little farm update. See you all in a minute. Hi everyone, I'm back. I told you I'd be back, and see, I'm wearing the same shirt, same day, everything. I'm sitting in my backyard now in Harrisburg, Oregon, and I don't have, oh, I actually could talk and talk and talk, couldn't I? But I'm not gonna talk that long because I have some good videos. It's been a month, and in this episode I have got starting at skirting alpaca, and I tumble it. I don't think I wash it, but you know, that's the easiest part with the alpaca, sort of. And then I do some carding, etc. So there's quite a few videos in here for alpaca specific. And I'm watching my dog in the background because he's just, oh no, he's allowed to be back there. Okay, I was like, he snuck out. Okay, so we have got some skirting, carding videos, and I also have some new animals on the farm. Just a quick clip of some new animals on the farm. I'll try to get a little bit more if I can without disturbing everybody too much. But we brought some new sheep in, which I haven't done in several years, and I'm very excited to have them. So anyway, hello everyone. Again, I'm Kim Beegler, the owner of Ewethful Fiber Farm and Mill, and I'm here to talk about wool and wool related things. This morning, I did a presentation for Fiber Shed Ireland, which was very fun. But I have been talking quite a bit today, and I'm starting to feel the effects of like the buildup of giving a presentation and now the exhaustion post doing it and then a full day. So we're gonna make this fairly quick, but I wanted to share with you these videos. So the videos I have, I'll show them in a minute. The videos I have are alpaca specific. So this is for Fiber Club, my monthly fiber club for hand spinners. And it is full at the moment, but if you email me, I will put you on the waiting list. And I am slowly working my way through the waiting list. So if you are on the waiting list, I have not forgotten you. I haven't. I have it. It's there. So this month's fiber was an alpaca from Ewethful's alpaca, blended with some horn Dorset. And I was really excited to use our alpaca because I haven't used it in several years, because I got a little bit hard on our alpaca. They are a bit older now. Their fiber's a little bit shorter. There's a bit more guard hair in it. It's not like that prime, beautiful young alpaca fiber. So I kind of keep stashing it to the side. And this year we cut it, and I was like, you know what? This is still beautiful fiber. And I think I got it stuck in my head because when I was spinning yarn at the mill, I was specifically spinning this one blend, and I needed the alpaca to be a little bit longer. And my alpaca are a little older and their fiber is a little shorter. So I just it just wasn't serving my purpose at the time. But you know what? The yarn turned out, or the fiber turned out beautiful. The yarn turned out rustic and beautiful. And I'm really happy with it. I actually set some of it aside so I can spin it, because it's been a long time since I've actually spun my own alpaca. Hold for a sec. Okay, to be clear, and my husband's gonna be watching this, he's gonna be like, that dang dog, he did what he does. Nigel, my old man, do you wanna come say hi, Nigel? He likes to sneak out, and he's 13 years old, and he's just trouble. And he sneaks out and he goes down to the barn, and he eats the chicken food, whatever else he can find. So anyway, we got him. He'll try it again, I'm sure. Okay, so the reason, back to the alpaca and horn Dorset, the reason I picked this was because I knew the alpaca was a little shorter. It was probably not going to stay together as a roving coming off of my carder because of the slightly shorter length. and because alpaca is slick. It doesn't have that scaliness that wool has. So I picked the horn Dorset because I knew that horn Dorset would hold the alpaca well. So there was some thought. And I also knew that the horn Dorset generally tends to be a bit of a shorter staple length. So it was going to be a lovely blend. And it is. I just did a natural white blended with all of my alpacas. So I'm really happy with it. So you'll see all of that in a minute. What else do I have videos of? The new sheep. So we ended up with 3. So we have Shetlands. For those of you that are new to the vlog, we have a small flock of Shetlands. We have 14 Shetland sheep, and they're tiny little sheep, and they're very spoiled and they're very loud. And I generally don't bring new sheep in anymore. We don't breed anymore. We just have enough going on. So somebody reached out that is selling their farm. They had 3 sheep that needed to be rehomed. They're older ewes. Okay, well, you say the word older when it comes to animals, and you pretty much, I'm like, what did you say? So I emailed with her very cautiously, like, well, let me put the word out. Tell me a little more about them. You know, just trying to get what kind of shape they're in. Because I have a flock, I don't want to bring in new sheep that have been stressed or aren't healthy. Not that those sheep don't deserve wonderful lives, but I don't want to threaten the health of my very healthy sheep. So upon emailing with her further, it turns out my shearer had passed my name along. My shearer actually was the original breeder of 2 of the sheep. And right there, I was like, okay, I know what my shearer is breeding for. So I know these are going to be healthy as far as where they came from. Then the longer I messaged with this woman, I was like, these sheep are probably better taken care of than mine. So I said, okay, let's do it. So I have a quick clip of them coming to the farm. In our world, they're giant. They are 2 to 3 times the size of our Shetlands, for sure. They are, the 2 white ones that you'll see are BFL East Frisian, so Blue-Faced Leicester and East Frisian sheep crosses. BFL, most of us as hand spinners, even as knitters nowadays know, the East Frisian is a dairy sheep. So it's a multi-purpose sheep. They actually are often used for dairy, for meat, and less than those 2 is probably their wool, which gets overlooked a lot. I absolutely love it. And if you've been in my community for a while, you may have had a chance to spin some, because I love to buy my shearers East Frisian and East Frisian cross wool, which she loves because most people overlook it. So, and then the 3rd sheep is a gray kind of silver sheep, and it is primarily BFL. There's still some East Frisian because one of the moms is the white one, but she is heavier in the BFL. And you'll notice maybe she has a tail. Very odd. But the reason for that is that it was during COVID, I believe, when this sheep was lambed and there was a shortage of tetanus vaccines. And the shepherd was nervous about docking the tail and doing some of this other stuff that we would normally do when there's not vaccines to back up that immune system. So here we are. She's never had issues with the tail. And so we'll see how it goes. And she doesn't live far from me, which is one of the other reasons I felt confident in this, because my shearer lives in a slightly drier part of the state, but these sheep have lived forever on her farm, closer to me. And I know that my shearer is breeding for good feet, among other things. So we are absolutely smitten with them. I thought this is going to be so great. They're going to be quiet sheep because our Shetlands are so loud and very pushy. And turns out, no, they're not. They're not quiet sheep. They sound very different than the Shetlands, but they're not quiet sheep. And I'm happy to report we have slowly integrated them. The Shetlands are being very polite to them, in part because if they try to ram into these girls, they basically bounce off. And so it's pretty funny to watch. A few of the wethers here and there will like try to assert a little bit, and the girls like literally barely feel them hitting them. So, and otherwise they are pretty well integrated. They tend to kind of rest in a different spot from the flock, but when it comes to feeding time and moving them, they actually lead the flock, which is amazing, because another trait of Shetlands is that they are not easy to herd. Shetlands tend to go most sheep, when you herd them, you know, if you have dogs or whatever, they will flock together as a strength so that they're more in numbers, sort of, right? And then they'll move along. Shetlands go like this. They go in every direction. So it's lovely to have these girls who just follow us around like dogs, and then the Shetlands follow them. So very excited. We named them Poppy, Zinnia, and Dahlia because it's a heavy flower season for me. That is where we're sitting right now. This is a zinnia patch that I have behind me, and you'll see there's a lot of little organza bags on top, and that is because where we are, the cucumber beetles especially, and the earwigs will try to eat my flowers. And these flowers I grew from seed, and I've put a lot of love and time into them, and I was like, no, you're not doing this. I also have dahlias in another patch. If I have time and space, I'll walk through both of them and just show you real quick what they look like, because they are blowing my mind with beauty. Just to mention, because I always love a good small business mention, I bought all these seeds from Floret Flower. They are a flower farm in Washington State, and you will. I thought I worked a lot and hard. This woman makes me look like I'm napping all the time. She is intense and inspiring. Okay, Mitch just messaged me to tell me my new phone is here. We actually had to dump tons of stuff just so I could get this video. My phone is so overrun with videos and phone and stuff. So, okay, I'm gonna show you that stuff. I'm gonna show you that stuff, and I'm gonna talk quickly about the fundraiser that we are doing in Ewethful. So I think in the last video, I talked about, was it the last video? It was somewhere, maybe it wasn't the last video, when the election, watch out everyone, it's about to get political-ish for a minute. You are welcome, obviously. You're choosing to watch me, and so you can choose not to watch me, and that's totally fine. I'm not gonna dive deep, but what we are doing, and I mentioned this somewhere, was that I was going to start selling my handspun with the money being donated to Act Blue, which means that the money will be donated, move forward into the Harris Waltz election campaign. If you've been following me long enough, this should not be a surprise. If it is, surprise, but that's okay. You can feel differently than me. That's all right. We can all still enjoy fiber together. But for this one moment, I'm going to tell you what we're doing. So I mentioned I was going to do this, and then people started reaching out to me, other hand spinners, and saying, I would love to send you handspun to donate for this fundraiser. So it got a little bit bigger, which is amazing. And I would love for it to get bigger. So any of you who want to contribute handspun to this, please send me an email or message me in the comments, and we can connect some way. It's very easy. I basically am just asking that you supply me as much information as possible, because it takes a lot of time for me to take the photos, list the yarn, try to have descriptions on everything, and also that you have been storing it in a manner that will make it safe for us to move along, meaning it's been in something sealed so that moths, rodents, that sort of thing have not gotten into your yarn. I know it happens, but we just don't want to move yarn forward that would potentially contaminate somebody else's yarn stash, right? So there is yarn currently up. We have already raised $450, which is amazing. I started posting yarn last week. I will continue to post as long as you all keep sending it to me, and I'll let you know when no more yarn's coming in, and so grab what you can. This was perfect timing, because right before I sat down to film this, I got a box from the post office, which I cannot talk enough about how amazing it is that so many hand spinners from around the country are willing to dive into their stash and to share it with all of us and to trust it with me, because I truly look at our handspun yarn as art. And for a lot of us, it's a calming sort of meditative thing that we do. And it helps us through a lot of mental health stuff, a lot of anxiety, besides just the creative, wonderful outlet that it is. So it's amazing. And when I get your yarn in the mail, I get a little teary. But this box took me exceptionally teary because it included a nice letter. And this person had been emailing with me. So I'm just gonna show you the yarn really quick, and then we'll talk for just a second, because it doesn't just apply to her. Look at this. See this box? All handspun yarn. 2,000 yards of hand spun yarn from her flock of sheep. I'm going to show it to you. So Elise spun this, and she included a little note. I'm not going to say the whole thing. I don't know if she watches this, but I hope she does, because this message is for you. And Elise, you heard me say the word rustic about that beautiful yarn, the alpaca horn Dorset, and I love rustic yarn. When I say rustic yarn, it's not a negative connotation. It is a connection to the animal. It's a connection to the earth. It is beautiful and natural yarn. So I just wanted to say, she said that she's not a talented spinner, and she only had a half day of a spinning class at a guild meeting. And so she was like, if it's not good enough, or if it's too rustic or whatever, it's fine. It's okay. Elise, this is absolutely stunning, and I want you to be so proud of yourself for not only raising the sheep, but processing this wool by hand, I'm guessing. I don't know. I guess processed some stuff for her, but here goes my stinking dog again. Okay, so Elise, it's beautiful. So this is border cheviot wool for anybody who's interested in it. She has 10 beloved ewes, which is even better. And most of this came from one of her girls, Joy. And in some of the recent fires, they had to evacuate the animals and themselves. Some of the wildfires that we had, and she said, you know, they were even on the news in, I think, Japan and Germany, because they were living out of a stock trailer at the fairgrounds with their sheep. So we love our sheep. We love our sheep. And I think this is absolutely phenomenal yarn. Is it rustic? Yes. And that's what makes it amazing. Plus the story behind it, plus just the love that has gone into it. And at least this is beautiful. For a half day of learning to spin, it's beautiful. So I'm going to put it up on the website. It's 2,000 yards. I think I'm going to split it up into 1,000 yard increments so that somebody could do a bigger project with it. Is it next to skin? I would say if you're not sensitive to wool at all, you might be able to pull it off just like right on the collar of a sweater or something. But it would make a beautiful outerwear sweater. It would make beautiful hats and all of those things. Basically, you know, something that isn't going to be rubbing in your super sensitive spots. Although for some of us, we could wear this. And a lot of that has to do, as I'm touching it, I don't think that's your spinning, Elise, if you're watching. I think that is border cheviot, right? All wool has a purpose. It doesn't have to be next to skin for it to still be beautiful, wonderful, usable wool. Preach it. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say there. Except that for all of us hand spinners it's so easy for us to look at our hand spun and say it's not perfect. Be so proud of it, because think of, I mean, the hours and hours and hours of work that went into 2,000 yards of hand spun yarn is phenomenal, besides all the work she put into the sheep. So this will be going up on the website. Hopefully it'll be there when this episode goes live. So if anybody wants a part of this, I actually am going to put a picture of her sheep up too in the listing, and it's really spectacular yarn. So to all of you participating, whether you are sending in handspun or buying handspun, you're so appreciated. I feel so connected in so many ways. And for those of you that can't, I get it. And for those of you that don't want to support it for your own reasons, I get it too. But I'm really proud of everybody. So there's that. You can go to the handspun section on the Ewethful website, and there's listings for all the different yarn, and I've done my best to share as much info as I can. But it's our art, so yay. And it's a little more expensive for all the reasons, but also because the money is all being donated. So okay, let us go ahead and go to some videos, and let's see some carding, let's see some skirting, let's see some alpaca fiber. And if I have time and enough room on my phone, I am going to skirt around and let you see the new sheep in addition to their first homecoming. And we do have some new little baby chicks, although I doubt Mama at this time of the day is going to let me see them. So I'll put a picture up if nothing else. These are our first chicks to hatch on our farm. We haven't always had success with that. So this Mama, we said, she was sitting in a corner of the barn, not the safest place in the world, but we said, just do it. Just do it. Let's see what you do. And she did it. She hatched out 3 little babies. So Yay for her. Okay, let's head to some videos and I will be back at the end to say a fond farewell. And thank you so much for watching. Okay, see you in a minute. Okay, sidebar, we're popping down to see the sheep and we're just kind of gonna wander up, and I'm really surprised to see that the new girls are sleeping down here, and they may pop up because they love food. So Shetlands, and you can see these girls. See if I can get away from the sun. You can see how they're gonna come up and say hi. We turn away from the sun, there we go. And you probably can see how much bigger. There's a Shetland right in front of them. Hi girls. So here's the 3 new babies. Do you wanna come and say hi? They are pretty friendly girls, although it's kind of warm, so I wouldn't blame them for not wanting to say hi, but there they are. And the Shetlands are all here. The Shetlands have quite a bit of wool on them. And there's everybody. We're not going to stay too long because everybody's trying to stay cool. It's kind of our last little hopeful last batch of heat. So there are the girls. You can kind of see the size difference right there. Okay, now let's go up and see. She's gonna come. She's like, I can hardly help myself. Hi, baby. Hi, baby. She is just about the sweetest. I know, the dog's here, so she's telling her. Okay, let's go see some more flowers and we'll see some more video. I don't have a dog, so I was just gonna show you. Look at those little curls. Gorgeous. You're gorgeous. So pretty, I know. Annoying and it's hot. We're gonna leave you alone. All right, she's already to bed, but let's see if I can scroll in. There's a little baby sticking its head out. That little baby's always sticking its head out. There's 3 in there, but there she is. Okay, I completely you all, so I wanted to say them before I forgot. Just got back from a dog walk. So first off, if you are interested in any of the fibers that you see that I'm carding here, there's so much more that doesn't always make it to the website or it does not last long. So my Patreon is the best place to get early bird notices about fiber because I sell it all. I sell it all. And you can also get on my newsletter because that's the next best place to get notifications on fiber as it comes out. And I also forgot to mention that I have been doing audio podcasts. So while I'm only on YouTube once a month, I am doing more frequent audio podcasts. The podcast is called Handspun, easy to remember, right? You can also search Ewethful and you will find it. And there's all sorts of extra episodes that are shorter. And so, but great for when you're in the car or anything like that. So check it out. And there will be links to lots of stuff in the show notes. I'm out. Take some video because we have all these people that love to see the animals come. So, hi girls, I'm gonna stay over here.
I should be on this side. So, in typical showmanship.
There you go.
Judging the camera.
A little bigger than the Shetlands. We'll get the gate closed behind you and then we can... They're like, who are the people behind us? All right, we can let them go now there.
You want
to say hi? Okay, everyone, I'm here at the carder. It's warm today, it's warm. And I am carding up some Rambouillet. This is a really, really beautiful fleece. I got this at Black Sheep Gathering. Not a fleece I would normally get, but as I thanked my Patreon's members, subscribers, when I'm gonna turn it on, so beware. Actually, I'm gonna make sure I have a tub down the bottom to collect it. And I'm still here, I'm coming. Need something to collect into. Anyway, as I told my Patreon subscribers, I'm very grateful because they help kind of let me slow down a little bit and do special fleeces like this that take a little bit more time. which is lovely. And I'm really happy with how this turned out. And you'll see I'm only doing about 2 ounces per feed, which is basically about half of what I would normally do. And that allows it just so that the carder can not be so, just so the fiber process is better, right? So the carder has a better chance to process it well. So I have it pretty light here, and it's a beautiful kind of steely gray fleece, and it was coated, but the tips are still a little brown, which shows you how much that sun can get through. And then let's go over here. It's showing up more brown on camera than it actually is, but it's more of a steely gray with some brown undertones, but it is processing up so beautifully. I'll turn a light on. I just haven't had the light on because it's just too dang warm, but it's gonna show up even a different color, but it is really stunning. I'll show you some that's done over here, and it is so pretty. It just carded up. It just carded up beautifully, and you can see this is a really thin roving because I was only feeding it at 2 ounces, so it's gonna spin up. I did spin a tiny bit of it. Oh, it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. Anyway, a fun little project. Okay, everyone, we are going to skirt the very last alpaca fleece that I have from my animals. And this is Madrona. I'm trying to think of who it is. So I'm gonna hold it up so you can see. You can see right off the bat. See that chunk right there? So Madrona is older. I think she's probably 14 or so now. Sorry, you all. I have to kind of keep an eye on my dog in the background. I don't want him to go down and eat. But do you see that? That is a perfect example of some of Madrona's guard hair. Let me compare that to this. I mean, night and day, right? Now in general, a lot of times when you're getting to alpaca fiber that is not as great of quality on one animal, there can be all different, there can be different types. Color does a lot of times play into it, and it'll look just slightly different if it's more hairy than it is that delicious alpaca fiber. So we're gonna pull that out, and you can see, if I just am like holding it up, you can see the color variation. And she is a multicolored alpaca, but this is very hairy versus this chunk right here. So that is one of the things you look for when you're skirting, is to pull out that stuff. So I'm gonna dump this. Okay, so the other thing, we were talking in Patreon about spinning alpaca. Alpaca is very, very, very dirty, generally speaking. See this chunk? I'm just gonna pull it out. See how light that is? And it's just very wiry. It feels different. So it's going to the side. So, and I let you see before I did not package this up in a perfect manner. So when I open a bag, if I see stuff that's gunky, I don't have to unfold it before I pull it out. You can be perfect about it. I am not. If you know that about me, I do not follow perfect protocol when it comes to things like this. So look at all that. That is all. So anyway, alpaca is very dirty. One of my patrons over in Patreon was saying she had spun some just straight, not unwashed, which of course you can do. You can do whatever you want. But because alpaca love to take dirt baths, like literally roll in the dirt, they get coated in it. And it's one of the most challenging things about getting their fiber clean. And what I say is, I have a tumbler, which I can show if I can remember when I'm down there. But if you don't have a tumbler, even a skirting table is gonna help. When you open up the locks, a lot of dirt's gonna come out. I would not skirt alpaca inside for that reason, because you're just gonna inhale it all. So getting the dirt out on a skirting table, the more you open it up, the more the dirt's gonna fall out. If you can take chunks and kind of open them up, it's gonna help release some of that dirt. It's not going to be perfect, but it's gonna help. So, okay, because like I said, this fleece, I was just like grabbing stuff from the shear. So this isn't going to be in any particular wonderful order, but I just wanted you to see, and I'm sure you can buy alpaca. Sometimes people will like, really hardcore breeders will have it like rolled up in paper, like a big Rolo. That does make it easier to skirt, but you still want to get it off that paper because guess what? It's just dirt underneath there. So I'm going to go through. She's not going to have a ton. She's not going to have as much wonderful fiber because she is older. And what happens with alpaca is they tend to, their fiber quality can stay the same. I am noticing that mine get more guard hairs as they are aging. And my alpaca, none of them are young anymore. The youngest one is probably 6 maybe. Oldest is Madrona, and she is like, I don't know, she's in her mid-teens at least. So I'm going through, I'm going to pull. I'm not insane about the VM because I have a tumbler. So I know the tumbler is going to do a fair amount of work, but you can go through whether it's laid out perfectly or not. I tend to do this with all my fleeces where I just do smaller chunks at a time. You know, I'll lay them out sometimes if they're beautiful, but a lot of times the wool I'm getting is not like packaged perfectly, including when it's my own animal. So I'm going through and I'm just pulling, and you can see, I mean, you can just see how different this is from this. And the guard hairs tend to be, it almost is like pointy when you get the guard hairs. And you can really see in here that there's like white guard hairs too. She's gonna have more guard hairs. I'm not gonna get them all out. But you know, I'm going to get some of them out. I'm going to get a lot of it out. So I'm just going to go through. There is no perfect way to do this. You can see in some of this, like the fiber's decent. There are some guard hairs. I'm not too worried about the small ones. So I'm going to go through and just pull out the stuff that looks and feels different. And it'll go into a pile for other purposes. She's a lot of times, if you get like a prime younger alpaca, you are not going to have that much to do. Especially if you're paying up for it. The breeders probably will have kept to the prime. A lot of time what happens in shearing is that, maybe I can scroll in a little bit more and you can see there, that's a little more close up. And you can just watch as I'm doing this. But I just kind of float through. And if you're at a skirting table, you know, you can be doing this, kind of brushing stuff open. That's going to help get a lot of the dirt out. So what happens, what I was saying, during shearing is a lot of times the shearer will help with pulling out, we call it like the prime is their main beauty parts. And a lot of times the shearer will know that and will help by pulling out the cruddy stuff. The tail, I mean, some of it's lovely, but it can be extra dirty or whatever. So like this is all, look at that. You can just see how different that is than from a lot of her wool. So I'm going to keep pulling, and here's a batch that is much more fiber-like. Hopefully it's showing up. And I don't do it perfect because, you know, you can keep skirting as you go along. Like when you're putting it into the wash bin, you can keep skirting. And when you are just along the way, right? When you're getting ready to card it, this is kind of her prime, which hopefully the light isn't throwing off too much. She still has a very beautiful fiber. There's just more guard hairs to it. So I'm going to pull. But the handle is still really, really lovely. Back in the day, this alpaca was a very, very expensive alpaca. She would have been, like when alpacas were first making it into the US, she was kind of on the early stages, and she was more of a breed. She bred quite a bit. So multiple people sometimes still invest in one alpaca because they are worth so much with the lines that they're coming from and stuff. So in her day, she was a very expensive alpaca. I do not breed her. She, like all of the animals here on the farm, they're basically all retired. Nobody's working too much except to make me lovely fiber. So I'm going to just keep going through. There's a big chunk, and that is very obvious guard hair. You can see not only in the color there, but that's pretty obviously just not quite as tactile as what we want. So we'll go through. What I'm going to do is, like I said, I don't worry too much about VM unless it's just like a whole chunk of VM. Then I will go ahead and pull it out. I'm pulling out the stuff that is really short because I don't want that. And I'm pulling out the stuff that is not her prime. So, and for her, most of her lighter stuff is not primey at all. We'll set that aside so I can show when I'm kind of talking about it more. But so you can see it doesn't have to be perfect. You can get a fleece, whether it's a wool fleece or what have you. This is all going in the side pile here. And just because you can't see where the, you know, the head or anything was, it doesn't matter. Like when I first started doing this, I was like, I don't know, I should lay this out perfectly. Like where was the head? Where was the tail? Where was, and it just doesn't matter. Just get in it and get the job done. However that's going to work for you. So what I'll do is, like I said, I'm going to go through, finish pulling all of this out. And she's not going to have as much as some of the other alpacas, and certainly not so much as like a younger prime alpaca because she's older. But the handle of her fiber is still absolutely beautiful. The other thing that tends to happen with alpacas is they, while their fiber quality stays high as they age, the length does tend to shorten a bit. There's another chunk. I keep peeking back to make sure my dog is still with me, but he's being good. Okay, so I just wanted to kind of give you a heads up on how that works. Getting the dirt out is kind of the biggest part with alpaca, because when you're washing sheep's wool, I see there's all that short stuff too. That's from shearing and it probably went back, so I'm gonna try. And the guard hairs do fall out pretty well in processing a lot of time, especially on my equipment. As the drums are rolling, the heavier stuff, which guard hairs tend to be, will often just, especially if it's shorter, it'll just fall out. So what I was saying was with sheep's wool, the dirt a lot of times clings to the lanolin. So when you're washing them in that hot water, melting the lanolin off, also the dirt comes off. A lot of it, not all of it. But if you, with alpaca, because there is not lanolin in alpaca, in case you didn't know, there is not lanolin in alpaca, it's a little bit more challenging to get that dirt out. So the more you can do to shake it out and open it up before you try to wash it, the easier the process is going to be for you. So I hope that helps. I know it's not the most organized fleece, but I kind of also wanted you to see, oof, I don't know if you saw that, but it was a huge pile of dirt coming at me. But I wanted to make sure you know too that it doesn't have to look perfect for before you start the process for you. Oof, oof, oof. I think we're at her, I don't know where we are, but oof, it's dirty. This is why I say don't do this inside. Besides the fact you got to clean it all up, you're just going to be inhaling it. So, okay, I hope that gave you a little explanation into skirting alpaca. It doesn't have to be perfect. You will get better at it as you do it more. And if you pay up for a prime fleece, you shouldn't have to do much of this. And then lots of times you won't have to do it at all. You'll just be trying to get dirt out and wash it. So, okay, everybody, I will see you in a few minutes, maybe at the tumbler. We'll see if I can remember. All right, here is my tumbler in action. So we're down in the barn, the dirty, dirty barn, because this is the best place for it. And you can see it's just tumbling. It's got dark fiber in there, so it's not that easy to see. There you go. You can kind of see it just rolling there. But so it's just, so a lot of VM will drop out if there is much, and you can see there's some fiber underneath. Some of the shorter stuff drops out, and loads of dirt. Loads and loads. You can kind of see on top of that. That's actually fresh dirt. So there's a chicken. And there were more. Oh, there's an egg. There was a chicken. Everybody laid, I think. Okay, anyway, I just wanted to show you that, and now I'm going to take it out and off to the washer we go. All right, we are here working on Fiber Club, and we're at the picker. And I have got the lights off so that it doesn't get too warm in here because this is a very temperate day, but I am working with horn Dorset wool and alpaca and this is our alpaca. So it's not the fanciest alpaca, but it's still lovely. I'm gonna turn the picker on. And I'm just kind of going back and forth between the alpaca and the horn Dorset. And I'm sure I will have talked about this, but I apparently can't stop myself just in case I forget, because sometimes I do. I do like a super short intro and then you're like, what the heck was that? Anyway, I chose horn Dorset because this alpaca is a little bit shorter and horn Dorset is a little bit shorter, tends to be. So I thought, you know, you kind of, when you're carding, you want to combine fibers that are somewhat alike in staple length. And the second reason actually is because I knew that horn Dorset would hold on to the alpaca well. And that's what I was looking for. Because this is a little bit shorter, I wanted a wool that was gonna hold on to the alpaca. So there we are. I'm gonna do one more batch and then I'll take you over and show you. This is the very last of it. I was just doing a tour, so I had it set up. It's a little bit drier than I might like right now in the building, but since it's only like the last pound, we're just making it happen. The rest of it is I've already carded some of it, and okay, let's go. I just can't stop. I can't stop. So let's walk over and see. You can see inside. See those teeth working. And we'll pop over here. We might see a little static. Not too bad. There's a little static on the wall there, and I'll show you some. See, there's a little static up against the back wall, but actually not bad. And then this is all picked and ready to go on the carder. And we're gonna head over to the carder in a minute. Okay, I only have a couple minutes left of room on my phone. That's how sad it is. Don't worry, I have a new phone coming, y'all. It's gonna be fine. I'm constantly emptying videos from here so that I can get them. Anyway, we're at the carder, everybody. We are at the carder, and my washer's about to beep, so wait for it. It's coming. Wish just came in. We had visitors this morning, so she did very well. I think she got a little saucy at the end, but it sounds like it wasn't her necessarily, but the boys petting her, which happens. So I am carding this at about 3 ounces per feed. Again, it is 50% Romney and alpaca. If it was not so much alpaca, I would probably have the carder going a little faster and maybe load it up a little bit more, but that's where we are. So the feed is blue line to the next blue line. So I'm just loading it up nice and even, because that's what makes this such wonderful fiber, among other reasons. What makes it such wonderful fiber to hand spin is that I really take the time to make the roving fairly consistent. And let's go over to the other side and give you a close up here. Into the carder it goes, and we'll come out the other side. Should be lovely. I could turn a light on for you. It's a nice like cinnamon brown. Actually, nope, that's perfect. I gotta find my plunger. I did the tour and my plunger disappeared. So here it is. Let me go in a little bit for you. Really lovely. So, you know, it just goes to show, and I did spin a little bit of it. Maybe I'll take you over there while I spin a little of it too, but not always the primest fibers can still turn into some really beautiful fiber and yarn in the end. Be creative, right? That's what we're all doing. We all find creative joy in this, so use that at every step of the way. Okay, I'll take you over and I'll spin just a little bit and you can see. Okay, so I am sitting at my Ashford Elizabeth II, set up for double drive. And I don't know if I like this short forward or long draw. I had thoughts on it the other day, but now that I'm filming, I can't remember. So The fiber is a little shorter, so if you're doing long draw, you're going to have to make sure to put enough twist in. I know in long draw, it's easy to not put enough twist in. And if you're doing short forward, keep your hands nice and loose. But it would make, I don't know, it could go either way. Because of that alpaca, you know, it would make a nice, like, lacier weight yarn, I think. But because of that alpaca, it could also make a really nice heavier weight yarn. I think I'd lean towards short forward. I'll show you in a minute what it looks like here as I'm doing long draw on it. I have this handy little piece of Velcro that I put on there ages ago to hold my fiber. That was before I knew the just apply it back on itself trick, but there it is. See if I can get a good, go in a little closer, sorry you all. All right, so you all, thank you for watching. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you learned something. I hope there was some good content in here. And if you want to support the Handspun, head to the website or send me an email. And please remember to share. If you see posts on Instagram or anything about it and you are into it, share it so other people can get involved. That would be great. Okay, until next time, be kind to your neighbors. Oh my gosh, it's been a bit. I was like, what do I say? Be kind to your neighbors, stay healthy, and make so many pretty things. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you all.